Hi guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Tommy Ray, and today we are trying out some of BRI's brand new products. I'm very excited. I absolutely love BRI Pure and Natural. I have been using their products for 10 years or more, so let's get into it. We're gonna start off with the BRI Perfect Prep Primer, which I'm very excited for. BRI has not had a product that was a priming product prior to this launch. So very excited. I have naturally very oily skin, and I have tried lots of different brands of primers. And what I have found is they do make my skin look even oilier. I have been using the L'Oreal. This is the 24-hour matte setting primer, and this is what I have found to work the best for my skin. This also is supposed to be a mattifying formula, so let's give it a try and see how it works out. So this is the product. It's coming out quite thick, like it's just sticking to my finger there, quite thick. All right, how I generally do my primer is with my fingers. I like to just tap it onto my face. I feel like that fills in the pores the best. I focus it on my T-zone, which gets the oiliest, as well as my eyelids. That feels pretty good. As you can see, I definitely have texture to my skin, discoloration, large pores. Let's see how this does under the makeup. It doesn't feel sticky or anything like that, so that's awesome. All right, next on top of the primer, we are going to use the BRI Flawless Finish Liquid Foundation. I have seen BRI go through many different formulas in the last 10 years. This has got to be one of my absolute favorite. It is very, very similar to the Estee Lauder Double Wear. The finish is pretty satiny, which is good again for my very oily face. The reason why I ever reach for this one over my BRI is lasting power. Because my face gets oily, it does naturally break down foundation and formulas after a while. So hopefully the primer that we used underneath this is going to help this to stay much longer on my skin. I, again, like to use my fingers for most applications. This is in the color Sand. I am a very pink, cool tone, and I find that foundations with a pink undertone really work better on my skin. So this is one of the two pink shaded foundations. This, I love how easily this just comes out in a tube versus this, which you just have to unscrew and literally pour it out. Very easy to get way too much product with that type of a packaging. So very good. And this is so much more affordable than the Double Wear. Again, I like to just use my fingers. Generally what I do is just kind of rub it in to warm it up a little bit. And then again, I just tap on my face where I want the product to concentrate. I'm gonna work on getting this generally where I want it. I know, this process is crazy. Trust the process. Now, I don't need to be super perfect with this, because then once I have basically where I want it on my face. Now, this is a little bit light. You can see it is a little bit light. Right now, since it is the very end of summer, I probably could use a darker shade, but this is what I've got right now, and I'll show you how I make that work. The coverage is good with this makeup. It's like a medium coverage. I wouldn't say it's full coverage, but you can see those spots that I had around my chin are blending in quite nicely. You can still see a little bit. Just making sure everything's blended real good around the hairline. See that finish? I'm filling that hole a little bit better where my nose ring used to be. There we go. Okay, again, when I take a step back, you can tell it's a little bit light for my skin right now, but that's okay, because once we go in with this, I like to use, now this is a little bit older of a palette for BRI. They don't really do these anymore, but because I've been a consultant for so long, I still have access to a lot of this stuff. I'm gonna take this powder foundation, also from BRI, in a warmer shade to warm up my face. So so it is a little bit light. I like to just tap this around my hairline, and I'll do one side so you can see the difference that this makes. So I tap it right around my hairline. I use this like a bronzer, not so much a contour. I do have a Labri contour that I absolutely love, but for this video, we're just gonna keep it pretty simple. So I use this more like a bronzer. So where the sun might naturally hit my face is where I'm putting this, not to sculpt underneath or anything like that. So I kind of look down when I'm doing this, and I think if the sun was coming and hitting the top of my head, where would it fall? And you can see it would fall on my nose. It would fall when I smile like this, the tops of my cheeks, and down. And look at that difference already. I think it is a wonderful way. So again, if I'm looking down, the sun would come down on me. It would also hit my chin. So I'm gonna do that, and just a little bit of my jaw here. Tiny bit of jowling happening. Once you hit your 40s, this kind of helps with that too. Okay, so that's just half of my face. But when I step back, let me see if you can tell the difference. Just warms it up a lot. So let me just match that side. We're doing the tops of the forehead, tops of the cheeks, and chin up the jaw. Hard to see on the camera, but it almost looks like my face is stripy. I promise you in real life it doesn't look like that. Yeah, maybe a little. All right, so whatever's left on here, we're just gonna blend my whole face around. Okay, that looks pretty good, and I haven't even used any concealer. I might right there. I like to try to keep it as minimal as I can. I feel like the more makeup you put on, the more it can just look worse sometimes. When you're starting to mature and getting these wrinkles and different things, it's just easy to overdo it. So we're gonna try and keep it nice and simple. Okay. Yeah, when I take a step back, actually looks pretty good. All right, the next product that I'm gonna try here is the Petal Nudes. This is from the Multi-Finish Eyeshadow Palette that just launched. They have Petal Nudes, which is that cool tone, and then they also have Earthy Nudes, which is more of a warm. And because I typically like to try to keep everything uniform on my face in a cool tone, I've not even opened this yet. Okay, so this is the palette. I'm actually very excited because this color right here is very similar to my all-time favorite Mocha that they discontinued. So you used to be able to buy these single trays of eyeshadow and just pop them into your palette. Now they're going to more of a collection like this. So I do have several of their collections already, but this is the newest one. I'm very, very excited for this. So using this, I think what we're gonna start with, and we're gonna use also the dual-ended eyeshadow brush, which is brand new. So this is part of the brand new drop. So we're gonna give this a try as well. Eyeshadow brushes, I have a lot of the Real Techniques. Eco Tools is another brand I use a lot of. I do have some Labri brushes. Here's another Labri brush that I use all of the time. This is my contour highlight brush, which is very, very, very good. I also have a few other Labri brushes. So we'll give this one a try. This one is nice. It has two ends. So the bigger end is fluffy, but it's pretty densely packed. It's not super loose, if you will. It's kind of stiff, but it's nice and big and round. I think this will be really, really good for the crease and blending out. You also have this smaller end, which is a little bit pointy, if you can see that. This would be really good for eyelids, under your eye, highlight, brow bone, inner corner. All right, the first color I think we're gonna use is maybe this light pink here. I think we'll try that. Okay, that's a very nice soft pink. Now I think we just use this soft pink for my crease. I'm gonna go in with this color, kind of a purpley nude, and we're gonna use this side. Okay, I do have a hooded eyelid. I've always had that, but as I age, it does get a little bit further. So when I put this on, I know that a lot of it's gonna disappear in my crease, so I don't mind bringing it up just slightly, up to the brow bone, but not totally. Also, when I do makeup, I like to take a step back. I feel like when you're so close, it's harder to see things. When you take a step back and look. Now you guys, I love the dollar store. I got this at the dollar store. This is the eyeshadow switching sponge, $1. This thing is amazing. If you want to switch colors but use the same brush, you literally just swipe it across the top. It's this like textured material, hard plasticky kind of material, and it just rubs off. I try to go lighter to darker if I'm going to use the same one, but this works so well you probably could go to a lighter shade. Okay, so with that same purpley color to bring that in on the under eye, I'm gonna use this small side of this brush again. And what I like to do is follow this line and I'll fill that in a little bit more. That's looking really good. So I'm gonna just clean off any extra powder that might be on this brush, and we're going to blend this. I'm just softening those lines out. Nice, soft transition. This one needs it more. Okay, not too bad. Makeup should be just fun. It's whatever. You know, if it's a little too much, take a little off. It's not enough, add a little more. It doesn't have to be perfect. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, now we've used this color on the eyelid. We've used this color in the crease. I think we're gonna take this little bit darker of a shade here, and we're gonna put that just on the lid in this outer corner, just to give it a little more dimension, a little darker. Oops. This is the shade that I wanted. So I'm just filling in right at the corner, right on the lid, to give it a little more depth. You see? Okay. I like that. I think that's looking pretty good. Now we have two shimmery shades. One's kind of a gold and one's like a pinky. I'm gonna use both. Now, when it comes to shimmer shades like this, I typically will just use my finger. I feel like that works really good. So I'm gonna take the gold and just tap my finger into it. And you can see it just puts enough product on the finger. I'm gonna go right towards the inner corner and put just a little bit of that gold. Very pretty. And it's not sticky, it's very powdery, but it's very pigmented. Like, I did not pick up very much on my finger at all. And I'm just tapping that into the inner corner on my lid. And you can see it just brings a very pretty shimmer. Now, daytime look, you can do shimmer if you like. I tend to skip the shimmery stuff unless it's more evening look. We're gonna do the same thing with the pink, all right? And I don't mind I'm using the same finger, it's fine. We're gonna do this more on the center of the lid towards the outer edge here. It's like gold and then kind of a coppery pink. Very, very pretty. And I feel like when you use your finger, it just sort of blends it very nicely. Just looks good. Okay. As far as my brow bone goes, let's try that light color. The light color that I put on my lid initially. That's this middle one here. Let's just fill this in. This just brings the look together. Okay, how's that looking, guys? Pretty good? So we're not done. I'm going to use my, okay, this is an eco tool. This is a flat angled brush, which I like to use for eyeliner. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. I'm not gonna actually put eyeliner on today because I just wanna use this palette, but I just wanna show you how you can use the darkest shade in your palette like eyeliner. I use this all the time. It's quick, it's easy, it's beautiful. It kind of gives a smoky look, which I love personally. And especially with having hooded eyes, you can see whenever I try to do like a winged liner or whatever, it just doesn't work. So this is a way that I can still have beautiful eyeliner on without it looking kind of weird. Okay, so loaded up my brush here. Okay, what I like to do is just kind of brush it along my lash line. And you don't have to be perfect. That's what I love. It's hard to see on camera. Let's see if I can get a little more on there. Okay, you can see there is some fallout, but we're gonna clean that up. Okay, so it's really, really pretty. Kind of hard to see on the camera, but I'm gonna go ahead, do the same thing on the other eye. And I'm kind of avoiding the inner corner. I don't really feel like I need a lot of product right there because I already have kind of small eyes and it just closes them off more when I do that. So same sort of thing here is if I'm gonna do my bottom lash line, I will follow the shape of my eye and extend it out. Okay, I like that. Okay, now to clean off my cheeks, I think I'm gonna use this brush. This is Eco Tools. This thing is so soft. It's almost like a kombucha kind of, very, very soft. So I like to use this to clean up any of that fallout. It usually just wipes right away. Yeah, no big deal. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Now guys, I did not get the eyebrow pencil, the LeBri eyebrow pencil. I just don't use eyebrow pencils. These are just my natural eyebrows. They are pretty thick. They're thick enough. The only thing I do with my eyebrows typically is brush them out. So I'm gonna do that now. I like to brush them out before I do mascara because if there's any like little pieces of anything that falls, they get caught in your eyelashes. I don't like to have that on my mascara, you know? So I just brush up and out. My eyebrows are a little sparse towards the ends here. And there is, when I do my eyebrows, I'll use the LeBri eyebrow powder to fill that in, but that's for another video. So for this one, I'm just brushing it out and just making sure the shape looks pretty good. And I just love having natural eyebrows. I touch my eyebrows, I smooth them throughout the day, and if there's product like pencil on there, I just would smudge it all over the place. So I don't usually use eyebrow stuff. Okay, so the eye makeup is done. One last thing I like to do before I do my mascara is I'll use like a big fluffy brush. Okay, now I'm really excited, you guys, about this. Okay, I have tried lots of different LeBri mascaras. L'Oreal is kind of my go-to. If I don't use LeBri products for something, I usually would go to L'Oreal. I love LeBri mascara. I just feel like I go through bottles faster than I place orders typically. So I kind of vacillate between LeBri and L'Oreal when it comes to mascara. This is the Extreme Volume set, okay, which is actually on sale this month. And it's a newer product. It wasn't just this last drop launch, but I still haven't tried this yet. The L'Oreal Voluminous set is been my backup for when I don't have LeBri makeup. So I'm very excited that LeBri has a primer. So let's give it a try. What is really cool about this, which I didn't know when I ordered it, is the primer is actually brown. Typically they're white. My L'Oreal is white. This one, look at that. Oh, weird. It's like a light brown, but let's give it a go. Before I do that, let's curl our eyelashes. LeBri doesn't have a curler. This one is probably L'Oreal. It's got a bunch of gunk on it. It is Tweezerman. I was wrong. It's Tweezerman. Okay, I'm gonna try to get close so you can see what I'm doing here. All right, get as close to the eyelash as you can. Get all the top lashes. Pinch it down good and strong. I might even bring it out down the lash a little bit as I go to get plenty of lift. Can you see that difference? Just curl your eyelashes. It makes a huge difference. Now, we're gonna try the primer. Okay, brown. All right, it's going on really nicely. All right, I feel like that's good and coated. Hard to see in the camera, but it's on there. And I didn't dip this back into the product between eyes. I just turned it and used the other side of the wand to do both eyes. So that's how I like to do it. Now we're gonna try this mascara. This is the Extreme Volume in black. And this is what it looks like. Oh, okay. So it has little baby teeth on one side and bigger ones on the other. I'm gonna start with the small and then maybe twist it and use the long. Okay, let's see how this goes. So I'm gonna put the small side down first. Oh, wow, that's pretty. Okay, I don't even know if I need the big side. Look at this. That's beautiful. That looks really good. I am gonna turn it and I'm just gonna comb it through one time on the big end to go over it one more time. And then I like to just pull out my outer corner. And then I only do the littlest bit on my under bottom lash. There we go. Ooh, that looks nice. Look at the difference. That's amazing. I am pretty impressed with this. Okay, I am going to go in a second time with the mascara because I used both sides. I used the little side, I used the big side. So now we're just gonna have a fresh go here. This is really cool. There's like little teeny tiny ones on one side. See that? Those little itty bitties, and then the big ones. So let's do the other side. So we're gonna do the small first. Okay, I'm gonna turn this around and I'm gonna use that bigger side, drag out that corner a little bit, and bottom lash corner. All right, there we go. How's that look? I really like it. Okay, now the last thing that I'm gonna put on that's new is the BRI translucent powder. Again, because BRI did not have a translucent powder, I have been using the ELF HD powder, which I absolutely love. So let's see how this compares. And I'm going to use that same big fluffy brush that I used to clean my under eyes with for this. I'm gonna spot. I'm gonna put a little bit of concealer on that spot. That spot's just kind of shining through a little bit for me. Okay, I have two BRI concealers. I've got medium neutral and I have the light amber, which I will sometimes use under my eyes. Let's give that a little tap. And then I'm gonna use the medium neutral there. I'll even that out. Now I do have a little sunspot here, but I generally don't worry about that. It's hard to cover up anyways. I generally don't worry about that, but we'll just put a little on. Okay, fingers, guys. I love my fingers. I'm just gonna blend that in. Now for my inner eyes, I think I am going to use a beauty blender. I don't want to cover up my eye makeup, so I'm staying pretty low with that, but I am bringing it up here. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I'm just gonna tap in the inner corners, make sure all that is smoothed out. Okay. I'm gonna just go around the edges of this concealer here. See, it's just, sunspots are hard to cover, so I feel like it doesn't do much whenever I put concealer on it, but I feel like that concealer helped with that a little. This is the first time I'm using it. It's called the Pore Minimizing Powder. Oh, look, it's cute. So it actually comes with a little puffer, so maybe I don't need to use my brush. Let's see. Oh! Okay, we're getting this off. All right, it's very, very fine powder. It kind of exploded on my hand, but it's very, very fine. Okay, let's see what this looks like with this powder here. All right, we're just going to get a little on there. Guys, this is a little bit messy. See how it's like kind of going everywhere when I hit it? It's very fine. Okay, normally where I put translucent powder is on my T-zone, where I'm very oily. So that's in between my forehead, down my nose, around my chin. That really did a good job of blurring, which is what you want a translucent powder to do. What I'm gonna do now is use the brush that I always use for translucent powder and just clean that off. Okay, we'll see how that stands up. It's kind of expensive compared to the ELF, so I'll let you know how it holds up. All right, lastly, we gotta do something about these lips. So I'm going to use a BRI lip pencil. Now they don't have this anymore, this exact pencil, but I love it so much. Like, look at how much is left. It's just teeny tiny now, but I continued using it because I love it so much. So it just is a really nice color. Now, I'm not big into overlining, things like that. I try to stick to my natural shape. I do like to even out the lips. This side is a little bit fuller than this side naturally. So I do just barely overline this side so they're more symmetrical. And I stick to my natural shape on the bottom. Big difference, right? My lips are a little bit dry. I think I am going to top them off with a BRI lip gloss. What do you think? All right, guys, so here's the final look. I added some BRI lip gloss just to finish off the lips and touch them up a little. I have had this makeup on now for a while this evening, and I think it's held up pretty well. So far, I'm pretty impressed with the primer. I am loving the mascara, and I love the colors of the eyeshadow palette. So if you're interested in trying any of these products, I will definitely have them linked below. You can go online to LBRI, LBRI.com/peace-love-aloe. That will bring you to my website where you can place orders there. If you don't love a product, we do offer a 60-day money-back guarantee. So as long as you initiate that return within that 60-day window, you can definitely return any items that don't suit you. But I will say I'm pretty impressed. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderfully blessed day. Bye.